President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi said that his constructive discussion with his Tunisian counterpart, Qais Said, dealt with a large number of bilateral and regional issues of mutual interest, reflecting a common will to strengthen the distinguished relations between the two countries and upgrading them in various areas to wider horizons. President el-Sisi added that this comes through the activation of cooperation frameworks and mechanisms of consultation and coordination between the two countries at all levels, whether with regard to bilateral issues or regional and international issues of common interest. The President's remarks came during a joint press conference held in Cairo with the Tunisian President, who arrived in Egypt on Friday for his first visit since he assumed office in October 2019. Earlier on Saturday, Said was welcomed by President el-Sisi in an official reception ceremony upon his arrival at the Ittihadiyya Presidential Palace in Cairo. President el-Sisi said that the discussion contributed to strengthening the ties between the two brotherly countries and people, taking into account the common challenges facing Egypt and Tunisia, foremost among which are achieving comprehensive development, confronting negative interference in the region, preventing the undermining of the nation-state, and combating terrorism and extreme ideology. The head of state further noted that the meeting reflected the convergence of views between the two countries on all issues, and that the mutual efforts to enhance cooperation in economic fields have also received special attention in the discussions. El-Sisi also revealed that he and Said tackled the developments in the Libyan crisis, stressing the need to activate the role of Arab countries in this crisis and welcomed the recent formation of the executive authority in Libya. President el-Sisi reiterated that he and his Tunisian counterpart affirmed their readiness to provide all forms of support to the Libyan executive authority in order to enable it to fulfill its role in managing the transitional phase, to hold elections as scheduled at the end of this year, to end foreign interference, and to remove all foreign forces, mercenaries and foreign terrorists from Libya in a manner that guarantees its restoration of its full and desired stability and preserve its sovereignty and territorial integrity. El-Sisi and Said also stressed the importance of continuing Arab efforts to support the Palestinian cause and the necessity of exerting efforts to establish an independent Palestinian state along the 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. El-Sisi also said that the issue of Egyptian water security was addressed during the discussions, given that it is part of the Arab national security, stressing the need to preserve Egypt's water rights. For his part, the Tunisian president affirmed his country's pride in the close and distinguished relations with Egypt at the official and popular levels, praising the achievements Egypt has made during the past years at the domestic level in terms of security, stability and development. Said also said that he valued the efforts made by Egypt to reach a fair and comprehensive agreement over the rules for filling and operating the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The two leaders also discussed prospects for joint action in the African arena and how to support African action in light of the important role that Egypt and Tunisia play in this regard. El-Sisi applauded the role Tunisia is playing as the Arab member of the UN Security Council and the efforts it exerts to support Arab causes.
Right, welcome back, and turning to our topic of tonight and the Tunisian president visit to Egypt. We have with us over the phone Ambassador Gamal Baioumy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good evening to you, Ambassador Baioumy.
Good evening, my dear.
Right, so we're speaking here about this very significant visit that Egypt has witnessed, the Tunisian president here in Egypt in a three-day official visit upon the invitation of President el-Sisi. And how significant and timely is such a visit?
It is bringing back a very important file. Tunisia is a very important partner in many fields. Of course, among all is the partnership in the Arab League, where Tunisia is a member with us, in a free trade area, the large free trade area on the Arab fold. This is very important for our businessmen to understand that our exports to Tunisia and our imports are exempted from any custom duties or any trade barriers. And this is a good support for more and more increase in our trade. Another dimension that both countries are members in the African Union, and here Tunisia is representing the African Union and the Arab world in the Security Council, where we need this voice to explore whatever questions we need the international community to understand it. A third dimension, which is very important also, that both of us, we had a long negotiations with the European Union within the Euro-Mediterranean policy, where both countries concluded an agreement, association agreement with Europe. And previously, after we finished our negotiations with Europe, we think both Egypt and Tunisia and Morocco, why don't we connect the South-South relations after we connected the North-South relations? So we establish another dimension which is very important for the relation, which we call it the Agadir Declaration countries. It is Jordan, Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco. They establish a free trade area among them, making a good use of our relations, all of us, with the European Union. Here we can accommodate more and more cooperation in the field of industry. Many industries are benefiting from this. We can use Egyptian textile to make garments in Tunisia or in Morocco, and so on. And we hope that the other countries will be able also to come to join us in this agreement. I mean here, Syria and Lebanon, Algeria and Libya. So many agreements which connect Egypt with Tunisia and with other partners. So we are aiming at a very big size of market, either with the Arab dimension, the African dimension, the European dimension.
Exactly.
We are talking here about a market in front of us of 2,000 million inhabitants.
We're speaking about a very important and crucial meeting between Egypt, which had the non-permanent seat representing the African continent and the Middle East, of course, at the UN Security Council. Now Tunisia is doing that role at the backdrop of many issues that are ongoing in the region. We're speaking here about Arab issues, we're speaking about African issues, and we're speaking also about Egyptian issues that need collaboration and a united stance. So if we speak about the Arab issues, atop of them is the Libyan file, and definitely the Syrian one, also a number of other developments occurring in the region. How far do you think that consultation and coordination between Egypt and the Tunisian side is very crucial at this very particular moment?
As the two presidents have put it quite clearly in their press conference, the Palestinian questions comes at the beginning because it is always a very important file in any Arab discussions. Then Libya, of course, Libya is very important for both Egypt and Libya. It is our close neighbor. And of course, the situation in Libya is getting better and better thanks to the efforts from Egypt and Tunisia. Now we have one government, and we hope that Libya will continue unified, and the Tunisian president mentioned this, and that we are not accept or allow another division in Libya anymore. Also, the security in the East Mediterranean Sea, where we have now a new wealth of gas exploration. We are connecting also the electric net from Baghdad in the east, coming till Egypt up till Casablanca in the west, because we are preparing ourselves that Egypt now is becoming the center to trade energy, whether energy is in the shape of electricity or gas or oil. Now we shall be sending our electricity through a cable across the Mediterranean to Greece immediately. Also, the gas, we are bringing the gas from Cyprus or Greece or any other countries on the east part of the Mediterranean to liquidate it in the Mieta and Rashid. So it is a sort of value-added industry here. Tunisia is not far from that. And as you rightly said, we are interested to hear and exchange opinion about what is happening in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq, what is happening in Yemen, in Sudan also, because these are very close countries to both Egypt and Tunisia.
Also, during the 3-day meetings and during the summit talks between both leaders, they brought up the issue of water security. And the Tunisian president was assertive that the Tunisian country or the Tunisian state is or has the same stance towards the security of water to the fair distribution, particularly when they spoke about the Nile waters. How far do you think that a Tunisian role would be effective at this particular stage?
They can play several roles. Of course, to talk quite as a friend to both countries, to especially to Addis Ababa, to tell them that what they are doing is not reflecting the correct dealing of the international law covering the river Niles, the rivers. And on the other hand, they are members in the United Nations Security Council. They can explain our position quite well whenever we need this dimension to be used. But as I see, and also you were talking a few minutes ago about the efforts of Russia and its foreign ministers, we are using all the efforts of all the friends and their good intention to be a good moderator between Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. So, still we are trying by all means to reach a peaceful agreement which will suit everybody. And really, I think I am optimistic on this concern. And you can realize that Egypt is taking a sort of very patient policy, because at the end of the day, I am quite sure that technically we shall reach a solution. The water is much more than Ethiopia would need. Ethiopia needs to generate electricity. They will not get any electricity without letting the water go into the north, it means to Sudan and to Egypt. But I think there is a sort of political stubbornness there. And let us have a long breathe and wait and see. And I am quite convinced that Egypt has all the experience, whether in the water affairs or in the political affairs, to deal with the matter. At the end of the day, I am telling you this to tell our audience that don't be worried. Egypt know quite well what we are doing, whether technically or politically or what else.
Yes, indeed. And we are all confident of our leadership and how it is sorting out the issues. Ambassador Gamal Baioumy, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much for being with us over the phone here and for your input. Getting back to our second report, Egypt and Tunisia enjoy deep-rooted, historic and distinguished relations on various levels, the political, the economic and the cultural. And let's watch in this report more.